Welcome to SEO Hangouts with Josh Bachynski. If you've never seen SEO Hangouts before, SEO Hangouts is the finest SEO show on the YouTubes. We use the highest level of scientific experimentation to try to find out what the ranking factors are, to give as much free away as we can to you of all the ranking information. Today on the show, we have with me my apprentice and mentorship student, Ryan. Say hi there, Ryan.
How's it going, everyone?
And today we're going to be looking at, there's a new algorithm that's out. It's just called the June 2019 Core Update. I don't think Barry Schwartz has named it yet. I don't know if it's a real update. If Barry Schwartz hasn't named it, it probably isn't a real update. It's not an SEO update until Barry Schwartz names it. So let me get this out here for you, and I'll share my screen. Now, if not a lot of my mentorship students have been affected by this, only one reported out of 70 or 80 students, only one reported being hit by this. So to tell you the truth, we don't know a lot about it. I don't think anybody knows a lot about it. There's a lot of speculation going on. They think it's a rollback. They think it's not very powerful. If we take a quick look here, the one site that had the most kind of biggest reaction so far apparently is the Daily Mail, .co.uk. They claim to have a 50% drop in traffic. So it's interesting to think about why the Daily Mail, a big site, will be getting a drop in traffic. Ostensibly, this should be the kind of content that Google would want to rank. Ostensibly, that would be the kind of high quality content on a newspaper. I mean, the newspaper is going to be putting out a lot better content than, say, your average mom and pop kind of blog, you would imagine. So why this site took a hit is anyone's guess. It may not have anything to do with the June Core Update at all. For you folks, if you've been hit by the June Core Update, I'd like to hear from you. Go ahead and type a chat up here in the top right-hand side on YouTube if you're watching live, or give me a comment down below in the comments if you were hit by the June 2019 Core Update. I would like, in fact, also today I'm going to be doing site analyses. I'll be doing a couple site checkups for you guys if you want to get your site checked up by me. I know there's a few of you who've been trying to get in the last couple, 3 or 4 or 5 episodes I've done. So put your URLs on the top right-hand side, and also ask any SEO questions you have on the top right-hand side. And I'll try to get to those as well. Also in the new What's New segment, Core 5 has just dropped. Our friend Ted Kubaitis has released the Core 5 piece of software. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. Would you like a sneak peek there, Ryan? I don't know. You've probably already seen it.
I think that'd be pretty cool. You were talking about it the other day, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, it's looking pretty awesome. So as you can see, he's changed the interface here. He's got a new variant keywords and a new kind of table that you could very easily decide what you want to track and what you don't want to track. So I'll just do, say, best mattress toppers. That's been my favorite keyword lately for no particular reason. And you always do the search up here in the search button. Now, I'm going to be Ted's going to come on the show, and he's going to do a full kind of analysis and rundown as to how this all works. And he's going to get into the nitty-gritty details. I'll just give you kind of a quick peek as to what's going on in Core 5. It is super, super awesome, though. He says not to really touch anything in here. This is just use this to kind of take a look what's going on. So definitely don't click on anything here before you do the get the data. That would print the report. Get data prints the report. So, but the coolest thing here you notice is that in the variant keywords, he starts listing all the variant keywords here that he's giving you. The variant keywords are the bolded keywords. Those are the partial match queries, the synonyms, the related keywords to the main EMQ, the exact match query keyword would be best mattress toppers is what we're trying to rank for. And so these are all the words that are bolded here. And those Ted thinks, and I think he's probably correct in this, represents probably the partial match queries to the exact match query. It represents the synonyms and all the like toppers, the plurals and whatnot that Google is going to automatically substitute out to use for ranking factors to serve up for the query. So the coolest thing here is that not only can you can take a look to see what's going on here, but you can edit them and change them yourselves however you want. So if I wanted to, I could say, let's put excellent in here. Excellent is a good synonym for best. Let's put awesome in here. I could put more variant keywords in here, and it would give me a little bit more of a robust report. I could also remove ones in here that I didn't think were looking that great. Another wonderful thing is the deficit strategy you want to use. Now, this little bar, this humble little bar right here is actually probably the most important setting in Cora altogether. And if you don't have this right, and if you don't get this right, and if you don't think about this, you're gonna be. That's where you're gonna get the least amount of payback from using Cora. Is in what is your deficit strategy? Okay, so what is a deficit strategy? This deficit strategy is Cora is going to. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll show you the bottom part here, and then it'll make more sense. So on the bottom part here, I can choose competitors I want to compare my site to. And I can show what I'm going to include. So I'm not going to include Amazon because, quite frankly, it's quite possible that Amazon gets to rank on the first page of Best Mattress Toppers and where is it? It's right here. It is right here. Only because users expected to see it here. Google floats it here for Query Deserves Diversity for QDD reasons. They cherry pick the results to put Amazon here, not because possibly of the keywords it's using. So it wouldn't be as useful in a measurement tool that measures, at the end of the day, it measures different types of keywords. Exact match query keywords, partial match query keywords, synonym keywords, plural keywords, LSI keywords, and sentiment keywords, probably all of them off the top of my head. Different types of keywords in pages. And the theory is, of course, is that Google's using that for rankings. And that depends on, and then to get any deeper from there, you have to get into your own deficit strategy and what you think Google is using for rankings and how they're using it. But I'm going to answer that in a second. So that's the reason why you would not want to select Amazon.com, for example, because the theory goes, and again, it's all just theories. You have to be part of a scientific group. Like my group knows the answers to a lot of these questions, but I'm kind of giving this as a general overview from any Cora user. But you have to have your own scientific basis for what deficit strategy you think you're going to mimic in Cora, because that's the one you think gets closest to what Google is doing. And in this particular case, the theory goes that you wouldn't want to include Amazon.com into that analysis because Amazon.com is probably not on this first page because of its keyword spread of different kinds of keywords in the document models. It's probably because it's there partly because of that, because it has to be about mattress toppers before they're going to even rank it for mattress toppers, right? So it's going to be partially about that. So it's not totally off the mark. And if you included Amazon, it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. It probably wouldn't make the numbers off that much. But I've automatically in my settings, I've told them here, and I'll get to the settings in a second. It's really quite impressive. But I've in my, where is it, banned, I've already banned Amazon.com because I don't want it showing up there, just in case it's going to throw off the numbers, because I don't really think it's there on virtue of its excellent on-page SEO. I think it's probably there on virtue of either links or some other factor like Query Deserves Diversity, like Google just cherry-picked it. And then last but not least, before I get to this deficit strategy here, you can pick your page. So let's say, for example, let's just say for the sake of example, the Best Mattress Topper was my site. I'm not saying it is. Let's just say it was, and that's the one I wanted to run for the Cora report. I would click track. And so, and I'm comparing this domain that I've tracked to the 3 that I've selected for competitor. So these are the ones that's going to do the competition, the deficit analysis between, and the type of deficit analysis it does depends on what you select here. Okay, so I hope that made more sense. And Ryan, if I'm not talking sense, you let me know. So the one I click for track and the one I click for competitors, and the ones I include, it's going to make a 3-tiered kind of competitive analysis between the one I track, most closely between the left, the first last columns. The one I track, the 3 I select as competitors, which is usually your top 3, which is what you want to go for. And although they're going to be there because of they're going to be there because of links as well. In fact, you could go insofar as doing all the ones that are not you. You could say, why are they there as opposed to me? Especially if you're way down here. Like, let's say I want to track this one, then I would do the full top 10, excluding any big domains that I think are there because of links or because of query deserves diversity. And I don't want them to throw off my although Cora does include links, and so you're not including that big link site into the analysis. That's going to tell you, hey, you need more links, but it would probably tell me that anyway. But it's going to screw up the on-page analysis. It's going to screw up the numbers ever so slightly. But quite frankly, you know, at the end of the day, I want to include it because the deficit strategy you use will determine on how much sense it makes to track this number between all these numbers. And it's also, so it's going to go off the page one average for these first 10s, and you can tell it to recommend you get the maximum variance of whatever the particular keyword, of whatever particular factor you're tracking. You can go for the average. It's going to say, okay, let's say the average was 15. I'll make the math easy. Let's say the average was 20, and I only had 10 keywords in the title tag or whatever it is. It would say, okay, because you've selected average here for deficit strategy, I'm going to recommend you add 10 keywords, as opposed to if I selected maximum, and let's say the maximum number out of one of these guys, let's say if the Forbes.com had 20 keywords in its meta description, just for the sake of example, I'm not saying it should or you would copy that, but let's say it had 20 keywords in the meta description, and if I selected, but the average was only 5, if I selected maximum, it's going to select whatever the maximum is for whatever thing we're tracking on all these sites, and the Cora report's going to recommend I go to the maximum. And then I have to get Ted on here to explain this a little bit to me, but I'm pretty sure one standard deviation means times 1, 100% over the average. 1.5 would be 150% over the average. 2 would be 200% over the average. So this is times 2 times 2.5 times 3 over the average. And if I selected 2 standard deviations, for example, again, don't quote me, Ted will come on here because I get confused when he starts talking with these academic terms. But if this means what I think it means it's going to be it's going to recommend I do times 3 what the page one average is. Now that's awesome. You have all this in here. Which one should you use? Again, if email me for more information about that, joshbachynski@gmail.com. My mentorship group knows what theory here to use and knows exactly what you'd be selecting here. And what you select here is going to make a big difference in the report that gets generated. I'll show you in a second. So, but right now, just so we're clear, I'm tracking this one, this slumber search mattress topper reviews. Clearly, it's going to be some kind of affiliate article, so that's perfect comparing to these other kind of affiliate articles. I'm comparing it against all 10 of these competitors, and it would make sense for me to select this if I wanted to go maximum. If I just wanted to go average, then I already have the page one average selected. I wouldn't have to do this. This would be redundant. This, what I have selected right now, as far as I understand how the software works, is redundant. I don't need the page one average anymore if I'm going average and I select all of page one. But it's going to compare against these things. Let's say I'll go maximum, just for the sake of example. And here's another really awesome thing that Cora started doing ever since Cora earlier in 4.82. I think it was 4.17, I think. Ted started to ask if people want to share, in general, just the variance reports they get back. So all the factors that are ranking factors and what the correlation of them being a ranking factor in general across the entire web. And he's gotten over, I think I've heard him say he's gotten over 10,000 reports back at this point, which is really, really fascinating. And you can add that in here as well. So you can add this in here as well if you think there's like this thing called global ranking factors, and you think you want to be in the global ranking factor and you don't want to be in your SERP, your search engine results page, your niche's ranking factors. If you want to include those, they'll be in the report anywhere for you to look at. But if you check this box and you have maximum set here, again, I hope Ted will come on the show later on and correct me if I'm wrong here. But I believe what that will do is it's like if the shared average is the higher, or the page one is the higher, or a particular competitor is the higher, it will pick that and say you should match this. So Ryan, you're the only one I know that's here. Yeah, you're here. Yeah, Ryan's here. I don't know if you were listening or not, but does that explanation make sense of kind of how this little dial works? This is actually the most important dial to get right here. It's all important to get right, but once you get this right here, then the report will make sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm following along pretty good. It makes sense to me.
Perfect. Okay. So I don't want, so if I wanted global ranking factors, I would want to check this. So I'll just run it like this, for example, right now with all the 10 competitors, any maximum of any of them I might be interested in. It's going to show me the shared average anyway. So I have best mattress toppers. I have a track domain. And if your domain doesn't show up here, you can force your URL. If you have a new page, you haven't done your page yet, you have a new one, you can force the URL. Also, I don't believe you need to track any URL, and it will just give you the variances, and you can just match them yourself when you're writing your page if you haven't written it yet. So, but if you didn't have a URL ranking already, you could just put it in here. And if you're like, well, Josh, what if I haven't even published my page yet? Then I would say, okay, sneak a page onto a WordPress site somewhere, or publish it, under some other URL. It has to be any URL that Cora can access online. It doesn't have to be something that you're obviously promoting, and it doesn't even mean if Google can see it. The robot's text could be disallowed to read it, so you can still get Cora to read it. I'm 99.9% sure Cora doesn't read a robot's text, and so it's not Screaming Frog, which is a good thing because those are two different tools for two different very excellent tools for two different very excellent tasks. So I'm gonna pretend like this is my site here, Mattress Topper Reviews, and then I'm gonna say get data, and so now it's gonna run the report. I have it pimped out a little bit for extra threads. So at one point this is gonna bog down a little bit. You see it's gonna run for a while. It's got a whole bunch of 50 threads running, and it's gonna analyze all this different data. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. You see it's getting all these pages, it's checking all the bytes, it's reading all the information, and then it's going to correlate all of the ranking factors afterwards, and it's going to spit out an Excel report. Now, too bad I can't, while this is going on, I could use an old one actually. I don't know if I have an old one that I haven't written all over the place. I wouldn't want to mess around with it, but I believe I do. Well, this will be done in a second. I also want to show you some of the settings, some of the very interesting settings you can set. So let's go right now to the YouTube, see if we have any questions. So we have some comments here. YouTube kids videos, quality content is no longer essential at publishers. Working at multiple publishers, and I see they make only short press releases which are found on multiple news sites. Yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, it's that could be an explanation as to why the Daily Mail got that hit. So it is kind of interesting. If that's the case, then publishers are really doing themselves a disservice. Because at the end of the day, Google doesn't care. Like Google, you would imagine, would be ranking the newspapers really highly. But if the newspaper quality goes down, then of course, Google will very, very harshly, very draconically will demote that website. And of course, we already know that Google has a political ideology. They swing left and they swing science. They swing left. I'm thinking what I could say about that to be diplomatic. Of course, I swing left and science too. So I think everyone should swing science. I mean, science is not debatable. Science is not a political ideology. Science is science. Science is the truth or the search for it. Your political ideology notwithstanding. However you interpret the science, then that's when you get into politics. But science, purely speaking, of course, has no political ideology. So I would applaud Google in that, but of course you will invariably get into a political interpretation. This is a point. This rant has a point, by the way, guys. You will quickly get into a political interpretation when you present the information to people. When they search best climate change research, for example, you can bet dollars to donuts that Google is going to be putting the left-wing science in there, right? So yeah. Anyway, and my point is that any publication that is not giving quote unquote quality content, whatever Google thinks quality content is, which is partly the way it's written, partly the information, partly speed, partly a whole bunch of other design elements and a whole bunch of other things, and also not that you're agreeing with their point of view. The more political you get, and the more the more political your newspaper gets, the more you agree with their point of view, is the more they're going to rank you. Of course, you know, certain places are just outright banning other news sources like Alex Jones and things like that. Should they be doing it? I don't know. You know, it depends on whether you believe in freedom of speech or not. But anyway, it's an interesting kind of side thing. YouTube's Kids Videos says they need to keep the cost low so they have less editors. So they need to make more content in less time because they believe in quantity at this moment. Editors are no SEO specialists. Well, that's a very interesting point there as well. Yeah, that's too bad, because if that's what they're doing, then they're going to have some problem with Google. It's not just links. The whole industry thinks it's still just links. It's not. There is a whole other spectrum of what's going on there. Links is one out of like 12 different very important factors, 12 very important family of factors. So it's like, it is at best 20% of the algorithm. At best, links is. There's far more important things to be doing. You can beat a lot of main competitive queries without any links at all. But not all of them, of course. I'm not Chase Reiner. I'm not saying you can rank anywhere without links. That's not possible. In Chase's credit, I don't even think he says that anymore. So, to be fair to Chase. Okay, so Matt says, nice to see you have a new apprentice. Ryan's been an apprentice for a while, actually. I have plenty of apprentices. I have like 8 of them. And we're all doing testing, so it's a very good testing group.
Yeah, I think since last October, almost 10 months now. That's
right. And Ryan's also on the island here, so.
Oh, yeah.
So
small world.
We can talk about the weather.
Yeah. Our weather.
It relates to us. Vishal says, can you tell me how much to interlink a single page? That's a great question, Vishal. You definitely need to worry about internal links. The linking structure definitely matters for SEO. It's a pretty big factor, actually. I just tested it today. Internal links, I can tell you, are a bigger factor than on-page. Some on-page factors. Internal links are a bigger factor than some on-page factors. I just tested that today, in fact. And that is the truth. So you definitely have to worry about it. If you want more information about how exactly you want to interlink your pages, just email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com, and I will get you into my mentorship group, and you will have all the information of exactly how to interlink and all the other information and all those 12 different family of ranking factors I talked about.
Worth it.
Travel and Business has given me a website here, etravelguide.info, to take a look at. It says, I bought the domain at 17 years old, and I think I have an issue with backlinks. Sure. Tell me a page that you're trying to, tell me a query you're trying to rank for. Give me a search query and a page trying to rank for it, and what language/country. And I will run a Cora report here for you. Since we're doing Cora today, I'll run a Cora report for you. Travel and Business, and I'll get that to you. Okay, so now Cora is done. It's processed all the information, did the LSI keywords, did all the stuff, no errors. Other people have had errors with Cora. I've had no problems at all, knock on wood. Hopefully that was my hollow head. Hopefully there won't be any issues. Let me show you some other really interesting stuff he did in settings, which I think is just very elegant, very beautiful. He has profiles. I have no idea what that is. He's gonna have to come on and tell me. So he still needs to come on and tell me some stuff. He says he's got the reports here. Now, some people were not seeing LSI keywords show up. LSI stands for latent semantic indexing. And those are the keywords that are related to your keywords, but not semantically related, not topically related. They just happen to be kind of related in space. So whenever we talk about best mattress toppers, also an LSI keyword could be login, because all the pages that talk about best mattress toppers have a login on them. And so for some reason, so whenever the word the phrase best mattress topper shows up, the word login always shows up just at some statistical amount. So it has nothing to do with the topic. It's just that's how it relates, or words like that. Like whenever you talk about kitchen, for example, kitchen appliances. Also, this is Kyle's favorite, Kyle Roos' favorite example. Whenever you talk about kitchen appliances on like an affiliate page, also the LSI keywords could have nothing to do with that, but like family or cooking or those kinds of words show up just because they show up on pages that are talk about kitchen appliances, not necessarily because they have anything to do with kitchen appliances. Now, that's what they are. How do you get them? Well, this is telling Cora how many pages does a term need to appear on to make the list for LSI keywords. This is, again, another philosophy of SEO. You have to decide. Cora tries to remove itself as much as possible from dictating to you the philosophies of SEO, allowing you to bring your own philosophies of SEO to the tool to be as usable as possible. It is strictly at its best a measuring tool. You need to have your own philosophies of SEO to come to it. But it does have some philosophies of SEO that are baked in, like it assumes that the variances of various kinds of keywords matter. It lets you track all those kinds of keywords. It lets you track what they are and where they're going to go. And in this way, you're telling it, okay, like if I had 5 here, I'd probably end up with no LSI keywords because that's too strict. If I say 3 here, that's a much better number to say how many pages does a term need to appear on to make the list of being a concurrent kind of LSI keyword. So I have it set to 3. I also have a bunch of reports that are turned off because I don't care about them. I don't use them at all. I could have them in there. It doesn't matter, but I don't have them. So like the top words report, I don't really care. I'm getting that somewhere else differently. Although that might be important for me to use later on. I might turn that back on. The keyword density report, I don't care about it. Basic tunings, intermediate tunings. This is Ted's recommendations based on his SEO philosophies. So if you don't have any SEO philosophies, then turning these on and just going with Ted's recommendations might be a good idea. I, of course, have my own SEO philosophies based on my scientific testing that are more just philosophies. They're more than just spitting, whistling in the breeze or just hot air. They're based on science and they're factually proven both in the field and in single variable tests. So I don't need to get Ted's basic recommendations here. I have my own recommendations that I get from the overview. The overview is the most important part of the report. The report you should really know how to do. And of course, you can't turn it off because, again, it's the most important part. So track domains, I could put them here. Competitors, I could put them here if I wanted to add them. The banned domains I've already talked about. This is where I would add in all my keys and stuff for other kinds of things you can plug in for analyzing those links, for example. Words list, this is a stop word list. I can change what my sentiment words I think are sentiment words, the recency words, question words, commercial intent words. That's wonderful that Ted allows you to change all that. That's fantastic. You can add in proxies. There's no need to do this. I don't know why this is even a thing in here. You can add in proxies, though. You can even add in and you can disable, you can't add in. You can disable factors. If you're like, Ted, I don't think Ahrefs +1s is a factor. I don't ever want to see this on my report again. You can disable that factor and it's not going to show it to you. It's a great feature he put in here. It's not really necessary. You just ignore it when you're reading the Excel report. And if you remove one out of here that's actually important that you don't think it is, but it might be important, then you could be in trouble. Plus, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. He checks like 600 different factors or something stupid like that. So if you want to start tweaking this list, I wouldn't even bother. I wouldn't even bother doing that. This is where you say is sharing, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead, share my search terms. I don't care if Ted knows what I'm searching on Cora. He doesn't know it's from me. He just knows that people are searching these search terms. It would really help the community if people shared that. No one's going to steal your search terms. Don't worry about it. And if you're really that worried, I mean, then get out of the SEO game. Newsflash, there's competition, and they're pretty good. So if you're worried about that, then get out of SEO now. Go into PPC. And you can change the colors down here. What shows up down here, I did. I made my competitors this light blue. And so you can do all that kind of stuff. So that's how the general interface works. Now, let us look at the report. So this is the one I ran here. How do you read this report? It has the date here. It has 2019, the 6th month, and the 6th day. So that's how you know, like, what is this? This was 2019 May 22nd. This was 2019 June 3rd. This was June 3rd as well. It's got the keyword you're looking for here, and it's got the date. So that's the nice way to look at it. So here we go. He also gives you some of his general recommendations here as to his SEO philosophies of what you should be adding. Again, if you don't have your own SEO philosophies, then going by his is not a bad thing. He's been in the industry for a very, very long time. He's a very, very smart guy. If you're going from 0% knowledge, going based on his ideas is probably not a bad thing. Of course, I want to give him that credit, but at the same time, I would say, but also join a science group that gives you more than just guessing on what somebody else said that you don't even know why they're saying this. I would join a science-based group, cough, cough, maybe like mine. Of course, I would say that to get the actual recommendation. So I don't look at the roadmap at all. I just delete it. I don't need it. The overview and the LSI keywords are the ones that are the most important for me. If your SEO philosophy is different, you might want to look at keyword density. But these are the ones that I find the most interesting. These are all the keywords that it's going to try and tell you to add based on some of the ones and it checked whether you had or not. And so what you put in here matters because it's going to change the numbers. This is the best of both correlation. It gives you, these are using two different correlation scientific mathematical factors. Best of both by page is what I'm more interested in. The shared best of both, again, I don't care about. Shared best of both by page. So this is the shared information, like of all the factors that they got. This is what it correlated for all the factors. This is what it correlated for this particular one that we're doing. Let me make this smaller. Let me make that bigger. So I'm going to hide this because we don't need it, and I want people to be able to start seeing stuff. I'm going to hide this as well. So we got the factors there. Make this slightly bigger. So that's the shared page one average. Shared best of, that's the shared correlation. Shared max. So I'm going to say the shared correlation. I'm going to call this the shared average. I'm going to call this the shared max. And this is the shared percent. The shared percentage is the amount that it was actually showed up on the report. So 41% of the reports, 41% of the reports had this as a factor in it that was important. I believe that's how that works. Again, Ted's have to come in here and correct me if I'm getting into this wrong. Now, the page one average, this one is important. These results here are your competitors you're comparing to are important. This one's important because it's you. And that's based, now this is the deficit. This is telling you what the deficit is of how far away you are from, in this case, the max between all these things. It's going to take the max of all these numbers, and it's going to say, compared to you, this is how far you're off. That's what it's supposed to be telling you. Now, this is a bad example because this is the publish date, which is calculated probably in milliseconds, probably. It's this integer. It's some kind of integer he creates based on the publish date. So I'm just going to forget about that because it's not very important. In fact, I like to make a floating table. Now, what you want to do is you want to save this as a different name. So I'm going to say Josh edited, spell edited. Kind of right? That right? And I don't know. Josh edited. I'm going to save it as a different name because I don't want to mess up the original report, because then when you start to run Cora diffs and stuff like that, use a different Cora tools, it's going to mess up because I've deleted columns and I started messing up with the Excel. So when you started doing this stuff I'm about to show you, always want to save it as another file. While I'm doing this here, let's go look. Did this guy here, etravelguide.info, did you give me your Okay. So things to do, georgia.wiki.com. Things to do in Tbilisi and george.wiki.com. georgiawiki.com. Oh, I see. Okay. So but this is not the site you were talking about though previously, was it? You were talking about e-travel guide earlier. So you've changed what you want me to look at, but okay. Okay, so if I do, let's go back to Cora here. I'm going to run this report in the background while I'm talking about the thing. So if I go to things to do in, is that a real place? Evidently it is. Never heard of it. Oh, we're talking Georgia way over there. We're talking Georgia way over in the Europes. Okay, well then I need also to know the country. What country are you trying to rank for? Are you trying to rank for English, like Google.com searches? Travel and business? I need to know what country and language, if you want me to change the country and language, which one that's going to be. And these are all the keywords because they're all the words that are bold. Things to do in Tbilisi. Tbilisi? I don't know how to pronounce that. What to do. What do make. And I can delete this keyword. Things to do, what to do, attractions, activities, do. Okay, that's good. Now, and which one were you? You were Georgia Wiki. Does Georgia Wiki show up anywhere here? A search feature here might be interesting. But let's just take this here and plug this in here. Add that to end of results. And it shows up here. Good, because I don't know if it's anywhere else here. Do we see it here? I don't know if it'll mess it up. I've never tried this before. It's new software. Will this mess it up? Who knows? But I don't see it. Okay. So I'm going to compare you to all the top 10. And I'm going to use the deficit strategy maximum. And I'm going to also include the page 1 average. So basically anything on page 1 is going to give you the max of all the different factors. That's just the way I'm going to do it, just for shits and giggles. I'm not saying that's the best way. You'd have to join my group to know for sure. And there's different things that it is the best, and there's different things that it's not. So you have to know what you're doing. Cora is just a measuring tape. It's not an architecture degree. you need to have the architecture degree, and then you have Cora as your measuring tape, and it tells you what to measure. Both are required. You can't build a house with a measuring tape, and you can't build a house without having a carpentry degree or architecture degree. You need both things. So, and this is not explained anywhere. This is just like, here you go, blip. And so you've got to kind of know what your deficit strategy, you have to know what your philosophy is to begin with. Because even Ted's, you just go with the default. I think this was the default, Ted's default here as well. Let's see, do you have any language you want me to do? Travel and business, do you want me to do any language or extra place, extra country? Are you trying to rank in google.com? So I'm a couple seconds ahead of the broadcast here. So now you're hearing my question, and so you should answer me pretty shortly, hopefully. Is there any other English United States? Okay, Chris Palmer says, Josh, hello from Philadelphia. Hello, Chris. Chris from the city of brotherly love says hello. Hello. Okay, fantastic. So English US, he's trying to rank for it. Great. So then I say get data. I have the forced URL. I have it selected. I have all the competitors selected. And I don't care, in fact, if there's any, in this deficit strategy, I don't care if actually there's a QDD in there, because if they have a huge amount of keywords, I probably want to take a look at that and consider adding it. So I'm going to say get data, boom. And this is now running in the background, seems to be running fine. So I will close this and I will go back to analyzing this one. So what I like to do after I get the reports here is I like to do what I call a pivot table. other people have told me, Josh, it's not a pivot table technically. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm going to do the Control T table. First, I'm going to go Shift Control down arrow to select the whole thing. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to unhide. And then I'm going to go to here. I'm going to go Shift arrow over there, Shift arrow down here to select the whole thing. I'm going to, oh, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to Control T. That makes a table that has at least the ability to sort. It's the ability to sort, which is really the important thing. I'll just have to change that. So that's there like that. Good. Now, see, now I don't know. I must not understand how it works, or it's broken, because this is supposed to be selecting for me the maximum. It's saying this guy has 0 JSON LD organization. I'm not saying that's a factor, although it highly, highly correlates with page 1. It could be a factor. It highly correlates. But it doesn't mean it necessarily is a factor. Again, don't forget cause correlation fallacy. The shared correlation, just for interest's sake, is minus 0.42, which is not as important, but it's only got 1.88% of the shared results have it in there. So I wouldn't trust this number at all, period. And you either have 0 or 1. I have 0. So if the goal is 1 and I have 0, why is it not telling me to go to 1 here? So I think the deficit is broken. But that's not a problem. I can easily fix this with Excel, or either I don't understand how I'm using it, or it's broken. So what I will do is I will say this cell minus this cell. Oh, come on. Oops, that's not going to work. Crap. Yeah. Okay, I'll make this really big so I can go. This is now you see my lack of knowledge for Excel. There we go. Boom. And that will now show me the deficit, the proper deficit. You're at 0. The goal is 1 because that was the maximum out of all these. Your deficit is 1. You want to go to 1, add 1. I guess you could just yeah, for that one it works. Okay, so good. So now what I like to do is I like to sort this by the smallest now, because it's going to show me what I'm missing the most of. It's going to show me what I'm missing the most of. Now, for some, now you've got to know how to read this report, right? Because for some of these numbers, it's not going to make any sense. For example, number of bytes to first match. I'll tell you right away. I'll give the free information right now, and that's also what Google's been saying forever. Speed is a ranking factor. So it's good that this site only has 220 seconds to get the first match. What that means is how many bytes did it take before it found the first keyword match? Is it a keyword match or exact match query match? It just says match. I'm not sure if it's a exact match or keyword in here. He doesn't say, but it only took 220 bytes of a page before we got a keyword, the EMQ or PMQ or some variation of it. Now that's a good thing, conceivably, for a number of factors. One, speed. It didn't take. It's a much smaller page, maybe possibly, or it goes in the philosophy that was a ranking factor one time. That how many bytes does it take before you get a matching keyword? It doesn't correlate with it, and so if you don't have your own SEO strategy, then you have to go by correlations, and that doesn't say it's important. You shouldn't be paying attention to it if that's the case. The shared correlation is around the same. The match sample is pretty good, over 50%. I have that in there as a factor, but that doesn't mean you want to make it bigger. The average, it takes on average almost 3,000 bytes for Google to get a keyword here, and in this case, it took 17,000. That means the overall max, the overall max is huge. The goal out of what you told it to analyze was this. That means it's telling you that you have to add way more page size and way more bytes before we get a keyword. That's not how it works, right? If this is a ranking factor, that's not what you want to do, right? So you got to know what you're reading. You can't just let Cora kind of drive the car, because it will crash in some cases. But I don't care about this. But the next one down is the same kind of issue, is that it's saying on average it's taking 1.2 seconds to load a page on page 1. Then number 1 took 4.5, 1.3, then only 0.65 seconds. And this site is actually pretty good. It took 0.29 seconds, and that's good. So you want to be lower in this case, and you are lower, and so that's a good thing. You don't want to go messing with that. And interestingly enough, here's a great opportunity. If I had added the charts, I could show this to you. But you see the correlation here? It's a positive number. This means, unless I'm reading this incorrectly, this means that this does not slope towards speed. It slopes towards slowness on page 1. That means there's a huge opportunity for pages that are faster to get a better ranking on page 1. So that's actually a good thing, because we know speed's a ranking factor. Google told us, and I've tested it, and it is. they're not lying. So how and in what way it's a ranking factor is very interesting. That it's not perfectly apparent to begin with. So again, this is another instance where you need to know what you're reading and know what you're taking a look at. So you want to be lower. You already are. Get rid of it. Okay, now here where you're starting to get into some of the nitty gritty. The page 1 average for the unabridged count and the word count. You just get rid of the unabridged count and just go with one of them. Word count. This would be the abridged word count. This would be the clean word count, more than likely. It correlates with rankings. On average, 3,200. So on average, it's a 3,200 word article. You could see that this is a smaller one, slightly bigger, slightly bigger. They got 1,500. They have a deficit of 3,150 words. If you want to meet the max, this is the max this is the practical max. This is the goal. This used to be called the practical maximum in the last version. This is the goal based on what you told it was your deficit strategy. This is the overall goal for all the records in the database that I pulled back. So again, your SEO philosophy is going to be very, very important here. Now, I know the answer to this question based on science. I've done very strict, very extensive scientific testing onto what your word count should be, and proven it fairly conclusively. And so, if you don't have, Cora will give you just enough rope to hang yourself, right? Cora will tell you, okay, well, this is what everyone else has got. What should you have? Your choice. What do you want to do? Do you want to be around the average? Well, then you only want to add, however much the differences between this. You want to be around, if the goal is this, because this guy's bigger and he made it to spot number 3. So maybe it's not bad. You don't know. That would be a very unscientific determination to make. Maybe you should go for the goal. Could you pull off 4,600 words of best mattress toppers? Do you even know how to do that? Is it going to be natural? Is the client going to like it? Is the people looking at it going to like it? There's all kinds of questions to answer here. But yeah, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you need to kind of make up your own minds. Again, I have answers to all these questions that I'm just dying to tell you. but my mentorship students who are paying to be in there kind of get angry when I release all the secret knowledge, because I can't keep my big mouth shut on the show. So if you want more information, email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. And we do have specific information of exactly how you would do this and what you would do here. Long story short, there's a way you could shorten this down here. You can just search for keywords. And then here you will get all the keywords, however far off your deficit for the goal of all the different kind of keywords and all the different kinds of tags. You can see whether it's correlating really well or whether it doesn't correlate at all. In fact, it looks like it's not a factor whatsoever. So here's an interesting example. Keywords in your A tags on your page doesn't correlate strongly in this SERP, in this niche, in best mattress toppers. In fact, it looks like it's a negative factor, right? It has a positive correlation, and positive in correlation is bad. But look, it has a good correlation in the shared correlations. So which one do you want to go off of? If all you're doing is going off of correlations, you're kind of screwed. You've effed yourself here in this case, right? You need to have the scientific knowledge to know what the actual ranking factors are. And this is like a tie. Like if you can't decide, you know it's a factor, but you're playing around with it and it's just a wonky thing going on, should you do it or should you not? Look at the correlation, and that can often break the tie on a decision as to whether or not, like when you get down to like the ones here, and you're like, oh, should I be adding one leading keyword in the H1 tag? I don't know. How does it correlate? Does it correlate at all here? What, really? None of the shared reports had leading keywords? That's okay. Well, that tells you something. Like if that's your SEO philosophy and that's what you're going off of for your data, well, then that tells you something. It did not. It negative correlated here, and it apparently didn't ever show up in the shared information, which that's got to be a mistake. It's probably an error, but that looks really funny. But so you're like deciding, should I put in an H1 my a leading keyword? I don't know. That's where you need to decide it. It comes down to like these ones. Like you're like, should I really? That's where you might want to make the decision. When you're like when your keyword in body tag, when you're it doesn't have any keywords in the body tag. Hold on a second. And these guys don't have any keywords in the body tag in a main tag. Oh, in the body. Okay. Yeah, no, they're not using main tags. Okay, fine, fair enough. Whether you should add them or not, again, is a good question. Then why is the goal 428 when the page one average is 112? See, again, there's occasionally weird things going on here. I'm not sure it's because I don't know how to use this. That is entirely. I hope that's entirely possible. I just got my hands on this, or if it's because there's bugs. Again, that's why I need Ted to come on the show to explain stuff. What's going on? He's busy working on some bugs right now. But the keywords in the body tag, for example. Whether you're deciding whether you should add this or not, I wonder if keywords matter. Well, if you don't think keywords matter in one of the most important tags, like the body tag, well, then Cora is not the tool for you, right? If you don't think keywords matter, that's all really different kinds of keywords is what Cora measures in multiple places. That's not the only thing it measures, but it's a major thing it measures. Like I just narrowed this down to keywords here. I'll make a selection. Let's see. The selection is 120. It tracks 120 different keyword factors. That's the count there. It also tracks other stuff. Like if I do, for example, see, I select all, I'll put it all back. I say number. It also tracks the number of links, the number of this, the number of factors, the number of P tags, the number of H3 tags. If you think all that stuff's important too, in which this site has a lot of deficits in all this kind of stuff too, then Cora is for you. If you don't think that's important, and it checks 81 different numbers of number of this, number of that, number of YouTube accounts embedded there, number of video embeds, number of Google ads. It's going to show you all that beautiful correlation data and all the deficit data if you think that's important, both shared and for your SERP in particular. It is the premier. Cora is the premier competition analysis tool. It is the premier measuring tool. But if you don't think numbers are important, number of factors or number of links or number of HTML or number of tags, well, then Cora is not the tool for you. If you think SEO is based on something else, then that's not important. It does track links if you have links built in. If you've plugged in Ahrefs or SEMrush, then it will track links as well. But then you're giving up on page entirely, which Google has said to do. So if you're a good Google follower, then maybe Cora isn't the tool for you. Maybe Cora should be the tool for you to look at the correlations, and maybe that would be some evidence to you. And if we look at the best correlations here, this is what correlates the highest for a number of tags, for example, and things like that. Also correlates in the shared data as well. So anyway, that's how I like putting things in the pivot table, because I can quickly get to the information and see what's going on there. And then lastly, LSI keywords. It also gives you the LSI keywords of these juicy keywords here, and tells you the deficits that you're on. Again, if you don't think that LSI is latent semantic analysis is being used by Google, or that these keywords are not important, then it doesn't matter to you. Okay. So let us go here, and hopefully that doesn't screw up Google. So Cora should be done here for this report, and it is. We had a strange error at the back here. I'm not sure what this does, or this is going to affect us. We'll have to notice what's going on there. So I don't know if that's important, but we'll see when we take a look at the report. Let us go here to the YouTubes. Okay, and so we'll try this one. While I'm doing this one, someone else put something in here. I thought, oh, it was the same one. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so let's look at you guys, if you have more questions, go ahead and stick them here in the chat. If you want me to look at your site, go ahead and stick it here in the chat, and I will be happy to help you out. Let's see here, core reports. So things to do in whatever it's called. And we have nothing. So we did get an error. So that's the problem of looking at software, which has got some issues. So I'll have to send that over to Ted to see what's going on there. So I have nothing to say about that. Give me another site. If you guys have another site, I have to remember to send this to Ted. I'm going to close this in Excel so I can do that. Yeah, remember to do that. And then I'm going to take this Cora screenshot here. I'm going to open up this. Go ahead, give me some more SEO questions. Give me some more sites to look at in Cora. That's the first time, really. Cora error. There we go. I'll send that to him after. Okay, what other questions do you guys got? Ryan, do you have any questions today? You're thinking about SEO? Anything you want to talk about in SEO?
The last couple of weeks I've been getting ready for summer. We're going to be operating again, so I haven't been in as much as I should have the last couple of weeks. But this Cora update is so cool, though. I'm excited to actually start getting to use it a little bit there. And I'm about to actually start putting in a bunch of the on-page stuff on the site that will still be mine. So we'll see how much I jump up in the search for the next couple of weeks.
Sweet, yeah. And you were saying before in the mentorship group that this is largely the first year you're able to get ranking because of the mentorship group and get
Yeah. So what happened is that last year we so we always kind of, what actually got me into the whole web and SEO is that I tried getting it done on my site, but it was never done to what I would say is like what I would like. So got into BCIT, and then I started apprenticing with you, and so I made a new website. And this year we've been doing rentals since like a couple months ago for our paddle sport stuff, which we never have before. We've had like groups come in and stuff. So for terms like if you're in the Cowichan Valley searching like any sort of kayak, canoe, or paddle rental, we'll pop it up pretty much spot one. So yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. That's good to hear.
So now it's just one other page I got to work on. So
the work is never done. It keeps on going and going. Okay, so let's look at, there's another page they gave me here. I wonder if it's going to be different. So what are you trying to rank this page for? That says it's the top 4 undiscovered. I'll show it to you on the screen. It's the top 4 undiscovered places to visit in Tbilisi, Georgia. Clearly, that's not what you're trying to rank it for, unless that is. What is the keyword you're trying to rank this for? You're probably trying to rank this for. Oh, look at this. This is a pretty place. Maybe I'll go here. Look at this.
That's the Divi theme. I recognize that WordPress theme.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I can barely hear you, so I'm going to crank up your volume there, Ryan. What are you trying to rank this cool stuff? What are you trying to rank this for travel and business? What are you trying to rank this page for? Darlene says, mentor group, amazing. Major personal injury lawyers' terms have all bumped significantly upward using all our techniques in the mentorship group. Thank you, Darlene. That's also very good to hear. Places to visit in Tbilisi is what you're trying to do for this one. Okay, so let's go back to Cora. So that was things to do. This is places to visit. It has changed the variant keywords. It has put the other ones down here. Don't want to add that to the results. Now, are you already ranking for this? Let's look. I don't see it. Georgia, start here. Georgia Wiki. Cora, Wikipedia has been removed. That's fine. Okay, so I'll add it to the end here because I don't think you're already ranking for it. Now, again, I don't know if it's going to work because you have this interstitial popping up. That might be why Cora can't read your page. Again, I'm speculating. I have no idea why I had an error before. You might not be a good site to be demoing Cora on, but I will add this to the end of the results. I've also never tried adding something to the end of the results at this point. So, because although all that just so happens, all the ones I was running on were already ranking. So I didn't run in any new pages. There's sites that already existed that I've been working on for a bit. So they're already very close to being on page 1. So Georgia Wiki, as at the end of the results, I'm going to add all 10 competitors. And just for shits and giggles, let's go to standard deviation. Let's just choose that as a deficit strategy just to see what happens. Let's look at the variant keywords here. Does this look correct to everybody? Places to visit and to see, areas, attractions to visit, areas to visit, beautiful. Why does it highlight beautiful? Like, why is beautiful bold? Of course, because that's a sentiment keyword in this case. So beautiful is a sentiment keyword in this case. Places to go. Yeah, we already have place to go. We don't need go as a keyword alone. See, the more I edit this, the more stuff I do, the more it's like, places to go, place. We're looking for places to visit in Tbilisi, sure. I'll leave that alone. Sites to visit, spots, travel visit, visiting. Yeah, okay. So that's all bold. That all looks good. This looks good from this perspective. Will the report run? Will it work? Who knows? It's doing its work now. Seems to be working now. So we'll let that go for a bit here. And we'll see what's going on here. Now let's go back. Okay, yeah, so while that's running here, guys, go ahead and ask me if you have any other questions, any other SEO questions, any other sites you want me to take a look at. I could also start loading some of these sites up on Screaming Frog as well. Let's just do that, just for the hell of it, just in case the Cora report doesn't work. No one's asking questions, then I can go here and I will start up Screaming Frog. It ends up being that I won't download this now. So let's put this in here. Let's see if I can kill my machine. Are you ready? I'll start Screaming Frog and Cora at the same time. Boom. Let's see if this Windows machine and streaming video at the same time. Let's see if this machine can die or if it's going to live or not. Okay, so Screaming Frog, for those of you who've never seen me do Screaming Frog before, I like to look at the response times live when I'm loading the site up here. And I see a couple problems right off the bat here. You got some really slow times loading up here. Now, this is probably because, well, no, if you want to rank for people in North America, well, then I should be getting good time on here. So you're getting 20% 3 to 4 second response time. So it's definitely something you need to look at. Travel Business, TNB, my friend, I don't even know what your name is, pal, buddy. This is something you definitely need to look at here. You definitely need to improve that. This should be like 99% all response before 1 second. Your average response is 1.43 seconds now. So I don't know if I'm still broadcasting because my machine is starting to make all kind of funny noises. It's like, what are you doing? It's like trying to sprint uphill. It's like, oh, geez, Josh. But yeah, this response time, definitely you need to look into that. So this response time is definitely too big, too long. So it's done the crawl now. It's still working on Cora. It's still correlating stuff. So that looks good. It's measuring the LSI. We'll have to see if that breaks afterwards. Okay. So let's keep going through the Screaming Frog here. Let's do a crawl analysis for you. I'll start that analysis. Boom. And doing the analysis, I get the coveted link score. Womp, womp, womp. It's like when Indiana Jones opened up that stone vault and he saw the smiling, the toothy grin of the evil golden-faced god. This is what you want, is the link score. So I see a link score problem here immediately already. Let's just go to HTML here. And let's redo that on HTML. Go, do it. Okay, so like, for example, these pages down here are sucking when it comes to their ranking juice. When it comes to the link juice, they're only getting 15 to 4% of the link juice that's passing through the site. It's these pages up here which are getting the most. And this is the worst case because you don't want to send that to the blog. This is one way where this is not helping you at all, really, by sending all your link juice to the blog. And that's just because the link to your blog is it's in the template, it's in the navigation on every page of your site. And that's exactly what you don't want to do because this is not helping you. You don't want to rank for Georgia blog, probably. I mean, you might, but if you are, kudos to you. Make sure you optimize the page for it. But so an about us, again, is not kind of what you want to do. So what you want to do is you want to add links to your ranking pages, the pages you do want to rank, and you want to remove links to the pages you don't want to rank. You can no follow links as well. That's one way you could do it. You can make some links, JavaScript links. But there's all kinds of ways around this. Join the mentorship group, and we have a whole bunch of different strategies of what you can do here, different stuff you could do. I've just done some testing on this as well, in fact, on the strategies of what you can do. Some sneaky black hat. I said black hat, black hat. Black hat, some sneaky white hat. I really mean black hat. White hat ways of doing it in the mentorship group. Yeah, this is at least telling you there's a problem there, so I'm recommending you. There's a scientifically proven ranking factor you're not taking advantage of here. Let's see, page URLs. Let's go for duplicate. So you have some duplicate URLs. You're going to want to clean those up. You don't want to have those. That's not too bad. It's not really such a problem. Parameters. Again, you want to watch the parameters. They're going to give you canonical problems. They're going to give you crawling problems. You want to take a look at that and just make sure it's not a bad list. I mean, it's only 21 of them, so it's not a big deal. But let's look at here the page titles. Okay, so I don't speak Arabic. I'm assuming that's Arabic, but let me look at these quickly. Okay, so there's I don't know how much it's benefiting you putting georgiawiki, the brand name, into your title. I don't know why you have these characters here, but if it makes people click, great. You can immediately go to the overview and click over 568 pixels to see the ones that need to get rewritten right away and just export that. So that would be a good thing to do. Probably you can immediately see the duplicates. You probably don't want duplicates on duplicate pages or duplicate titles. Again, why these exist. Any cruft pages you can and should delete. Google does it. What didn't used to be a ranking factor, it used to be more of a crawling issue. But Google has specifically said it's a ranking factor now, and I'm definitely seeing that as well in our field tests and our scientific testing. So you definitely want to get rid of cruft. So the badly configured WordPress site, for example, is getting ranking problems due to these issues and various other ones. And last but not least, I see there's at least one major, there's three scientifically proven ranking factors that you're not taking advantage of here in the titles. At least, so you're missing out on rankings. There's at least three scientifically proven ranking factors you're not using here. I can just see from a glance. Maybe four. So email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com to get boosts to make your site rank higher. Meta description, looking pretty good. You have a lot that are duplicated. Again, that's an issue. You have an SEO specialist. topic on your site? Is this injected content? Is this supposed to be there? That looks like it could be injected content, or maybe, I don't know, you want to look into that as to why that's there. Go to all here. Again, that's why Screaming Frog is such a great tool, because I can see a lot of different problems at a glance. There is at least, let's see here. Yeah, so I see at least 1, 2, 3 different scientifically proven. So I'm not, when I say scientifically proven, I mean they are for sure, they are as a fact that they are ranking factors. I'm not guessing. I'm not giving you my best suggestions. I'm not thinking, well, Google said. When I say scientifically proven ranking factors, I mean it is a fact that there are at least 3 ranking factors that I've scientifically proven that you're not taking advantage of here. And it's therefore a fact that you're not going to rank as well. And it's a fact I know that you're not going to be doing as well with just at a glance of some of these pages that I'm seeing here. So email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com, and it's a fact that you will get better if you fix these things. That's what the power of science is, folks. It's a fact that smoking is bad for your health. It's a fact if you stop, it would be better, probably. It's a fact if you start, it'll be worse. These are facts. These are not people's opinions. These are scientifically proven facts that I'm talking about in this case. Meta keywords, none. Good. Don't need them. Okay, so I see as a whole number of 2 or 3 different, you people love it when I say it's scientifically proven ranking factors that you're not taking advantage of here. You're missing out. Email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. Anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, because probably everyone watching probably is already a student of mine, but anyone who watches later who doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'd love to tell you. Email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. I'll get you the information for the mentorship group. Try it for a month. See if you like it. Get the information. Make some boosts. Get some successes like my other students who have come on and mentioned it. H2s, okay. That's not too bad. Images, like I say every time, I wish they had alt tags in here. That would be really interesting. Let me go back now to Cora. Cora's done. But it had an error. It had an error as well, another error. So there's probably no point in looking at your report because it will have an error too. Yep, afraid so. So I wonder why it is. Let's see if I can troubleshoot why it is. Let's do this search again. Let's do this search again. Let it process that. I'm not touching anything in here. And I'm going to choose this. Okay, I'm just going to choose this page as the tracker. I'll give you the goal. You'll still have the goal to go by. I'll choose all 10 of these. So I'm not doing this is the difference I did. This is the difference I did from the last report. And let's see if it's me playing with the report that gives an error and not something about your page. Also, I didn't include your page. So let's see if this works. And then I can give you the report and you can go by the goal. And I'm going 2 standard deviation over. So hopefully you look at aggressive strategy because that's what I'm giving you. Well, I'll press get data and try this again. And we'll see if, because I've never got an error on this before, but I've never played with those things particularly the way I had for you. So let's see what happens there. We'll let that run. We'll see what happens there. We don't need that. That's busted. Okay, let's go back to Screaming Frog here. Canonicals. Do you have any canonicals? Yes, you do. That's good. You wouldn't believe the number of sites I run into that don't have a canonical tag set up. You could check here in Screaming Frog. You can also very easily go here and go Control-U and search canon and see if you have a canonical, and you do. Now, one thing I want to mention about canonicals, seeing that I've got time to fill, is pay very close attention to this URL that it says the canonical is. The slash is important, and the HTTPS is important if that's what you have is HTTPS. This URL, you have to get exactly correct. It's just like a password. Google ranks URLs. Google ranks pages. Google ranks URLs. Google does not rank sites. That is borne out by our scientific testing, that Google does not rank sites. Google ranks URLs. Google has specifically said that. They rank URLs, they rank pages. It doesn't mean there isn't any site-based factors or factors that happen more on a site level that would help your pages rank. But at the end of the day, Google ranks URLs and they rank pages. So if you give them trouble in understanding your pages or your URLs, you are giving them trouble in how to rank you, which is not a good thing. So let's see. When I type this in, I got this. What does Google think? Now, they took away the info colon operator, but if I use a site colon operator, lucky you get the slash at the end. So this is good. So this is another quick little SEO kind of trick or a kind of diagnostic tool you could use. They took away info, sadly, because the info colon search operator, excuse me, the info colon search operator used to be much more useful than site colon. But now site colon does give us some information. You want to make sure the slash is the same, and that's the same as in here. So that's a good thing. Now, that's not to say that if this was different, that Google wouldn't rank that page, and that it's going to be. It doesn't mean that Google wouldn't rank that page, but SEO is an exercise of specific and precise optimization. I'll repeat that. SEO is an exercise of specific and precise optimization. You should stop asking the question whether or not something works or not. That's not what you want to be asking, whether it works. You want to be asking, is it optimal? Is this the optimal strategy? It's search engine optimization, not just search engine fluke, right? You have to have the best science behind you so you know the optimal strategy so you can rank for those juicy money keywords, or you can get and keep that in-house SEO job at the big swanky place. We have people in our group who work for very big companies. We have a lot of prominent premier in-house SEOs because we're doing the actual science, right? Which that they don't have time to do. And it's effing time consuming, let me tell you, because it's all I do every day, all day, is doing this SEO science stuff. But that's why it's so good. That's why no one does it a lot. And that's why some people poo-poo it. It's because they just don't have the time or don't want to do it or don't have the inclination or the training to do it. I've done a PhD in science. I was doing a PhD in science-related categories, psychology in this particular case, and neuroscience in some cases. So, but the scientific method is a scientific method. So I've been trained in it, and yeah, it can be some time-consuming to do. Anyway, the point is that it's search engine optimization. It's not search engine fluke. So you want to use the best science to get the highest quality level of knowledge and the best evidence so that you know that you have the best optimal tactics in place and the optimal strategies in place. And you have to be precise on that. You have to be specifically precise on what's optimal. So stop asking whether it works or not. That's the wrong thing to ask. You need to ask, is it optimal or not? And then you need to ask exactly how does it work? Exactly how does Google rank this? What exact parameters is Google using to rank it? The more you guess there, now we can't always be precise in everything. Sadly, Google hides a lot of stuff. We've done 400 tests, probably not at this point, 300, 400 tests at this point. But there's only so much we can test. Google is a black box that tries to hide the information from you. Unlike nature, which is not trying to hide the information from you, it's just complicated. Dark matter isn't hiding. Dark matter isn't dark matter because it's hiding behind nebula and not letting you see it. It's like, oh, it's like a shy or something. It's just complicated, big, expensive, hard to test. That's unlike Google, which is specifically trying to hide the information from you. It's like as if God was trying to hide the rules of science from scientists. That's what it's like to do scientific testing for Google search rankings. So if you believe in this divinity concept. So yeah, so that's a little bit of background about doing the SEO science, but really keep in mind, you have to be precise. And in this particular case, the precision of the URL here matters, especially when you mention it in your canonical. And all these different things here matters to Google. Google ranks URLs, they rank pages, they don't rank sites. The precision matters, and the optimality, the overall optimality of your strategies is what's important. Stop asking what works, start asking what's optimal. And to do that, you need to have some scientific basis for your judgments. If you don't, you're either not ranking yet or Google will get you. It's just a matter of time. If you don't want to go with SEO Science, and if you don't like me, by all means, don't go with my group. Go with some other one. But if you don't go with SEO Science, I will tell you right now, whether you like me or not, if you do not go with SEO Science, your SEO career is over. It's done. You cannot make guesses anymore. They will get you eventually. They're getting people now. People are getting out of SEO. They have been for the last few years. If you want to protect that in-house job, you want to protect your website that all of your money comes from, boy, it'd be a really good idea to get some SEO Science behind you, because at the end of the day, again, whether you like me or not, don't join my group. Fine, join a different science group. Although there's not very many of them out there, and they don't do a lot, in my opinion. I don't like the way they test, but that's fine. That's like a martial artist who's like, we do two different styles of karate, but we agree karate is great. So it's like, at the end of the day, we're going to say do karate. So it's the same thing for science. It's like, at least get into one of the science groups. Otherwise, you're definitely going to be in trouble. So I heard my, and that's the rant for today. And he says, hey, Sam. Hey, Sam. He says, what do I do if I got a high spam score? Great. I don't care about that. That doesn't matter at all. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about your spam score. Here's another bit of free advice. I will be completely, and this is all scientifically based as well. Never disavow anything unless you have a manual action so bad that the site is buried into Nowheresville. And if that happens, you probably just want to delete it and start over again. But if it's buried into Nowheresville, unless you're like a major brand and changing your name is like a huge issue, of course, and that kind of thing. But never disavow anything. Don't worry about your spam score. Don't worry about links. If people are making links to your site, say thank you for the free link juice. All right, I heard Cora stop. Drum roll, please. Do you think it didn't give the error? Ah, look at that. It did not give the error. Scientific testing at its finest, folks. Otherwise known as trial and error. Otherwise known as, what if this? Maybe this. And then we tried. Oh, look at that. So that's how they found penicillin, folks. Okay, so we got a report. It didn't involve your site, but at least it has the 2 standard above deviation goals you'll want, but it is going to include the page 1 average. You can just go off the page 1 average if you want. And so let's see what that looks like. Let's see if the report worked. I've pretty much done all the stuff here in Screaming Frog I would talk about anyway. So, I didn't do the visualizations. Let's do that first. So this is what Google thinks you should rank for in terms of your body text. So Georgia will. Does that make any sense to you? These two, this word here, it looks much bigger and much, this looks like this word is out of place. I don't see how this is helping you in your LSI. I don't see how this is helping you in your keyword cluster. So assuming that's a ranking factor. Oh, Josh is being coy now. And again here, GeorgiaWiki home, again, your inlinks are not, again, if semantics are important in anchor text, well, this is not helping you rank for anything but these words here. So that's another thing you want to look at here. So you've got quite a lot of information here. Now let's look at the Cora report that it spit out. Did it give you a full report? Yes, it looks like it did. And we went 2 standard deviation of page 1 to 10, and then page 1 of that, and the page 1 average. Wow. So you're going to be, hopefully there's no over optimization penalty, because you're going to be, if you follow this, you're going to be overcharged here. You're going to be overpowered here. Okay. So again, oh, have I gone over an hour? I'll just finish this. Sorry, folks, if I went over an hour here. So like I said, I want to save this as a different name. It used to be Control-Shift-S to save as, didn't it? Why doesn't that not work on Windows anymore? That's annoying. Okay, anyway, let's say this as Josh modified. There we go. Now this way I can keep this. And you see, even running these reports I do for people helps me, because later on I can run a Cora diff on this. I can run a Cora diff on this original report to see if this, obviously no query. This is a no query, right? This is at the top of the sales funnel. This is at the top of the search funnel. This is where people are just looking for information. And it does provide me with some good information of what I can tell what's going on. So I don't mind running these kind of impromptu reports for people when I have the time. So now I've got this here, so I don't have to be so delicate. So I can go, okay, unhide all of this. I could say, get rid of these first 2 columns. I don't care about that. I could say, let's make this smaller. Let's go, let's even just delete this. Best of both, shared by page, what I cared about. This is the shared correlation. This is the shared average. This is the shared max for you to see what is the maximum in all of the internet. And of course, this is nowhere near all of the internet. This is in this case 94% of the shared tens of thousands of reports that people have run in Cora that they chose to share. The max keywords and sentences seems to be 20,000 overall. Wow, that's a lot. That's nuts. See, and that's why I love this new Cora, because it's giving you some really interesting information in the shared stuff. On average, it's 62 keywords per sentence. Overall, for your niche, wow, it's 138. So you are above the average. Look at that. Okay, so we got TripAdvisor, we got you got your competitors here, got more competitors here, we got you. So again, you have 21, and that would be 289. So now that's reporting correctly off the goal, and the goal is, I think, what is it? Is it multiplied this by 2, right? Is that it, or no? That would be or it's rounded down if it did that. What is, I can't even tell what it's going off of here, multiplied by 2. 255. Again, I need Ted here to tell me if I'm reading this correctly. I have a vague idea of how those work. Remember when I said it's really important to understand how that works, but yet I don't? I'm close enough. I'm close enough to understanding how it works. Okay. Plus, if it doesn't make any sense to me, then I'll just delete it and make my own. But okay. So again, this is how you would do that. I make a pivot table and I would say, okay, what is my biggest deficit? This is what I'm off the most. Who cares about the publish date? You're going to see that again and again. Unabridged word count, again, just go off 1 word count. You know, Cora has a lot of ways to track the same thing because it depends on the angle you're looking at it. It could be important. So like the unabridged word count and the word count, just get rid of one of them and go off 1. It doesn't, you don't have to, don't confuse your writer in trying to give them both numbers because they're like, well, which one do I go off of? So for example, if you wanted to go two over the standard deviation, you have to add 5,000 words to your page. Will that help you? I don't know. In fact, I do know. That might not be one where you want to do that. But again, you could also just narrow this down to keywords and number in here as well. And you can decide what your SEO philosophy is going to be for all the numbers, the variances. But at least that's how that works, and it did work. So I don't know what it didn't like about your page in particular. Oh, right, this is not you. So never mind. Sorry, you didn't want to go off this data at all. You don't care about this. This is not you. You want to go to the goal, right? You want to do the page 1 average, or you want to match one of your competitors here. Maybe that's your strategy. Or you want to go to the goal, which is the 2 over the standard deviation of this stuff. Or you want to maybe you want to do the overall max. Maybe you don't believe there's an over optimization penalty at all, and you want to go with the overall max of the top 100 sites. So that's what you want to do. It depends on your SEO philosophy. Your SEO philosophy is so important, and where you get the evidence for that SEO philosophy is the most important thing. How trustworthy is your beliefs? This is not, postmodernism has ruined us. This is not a case where you can have your own opinion, or you can have your own truth. My truth is this, and your truth is that. That's not how it works. That's not how it works anywhere, by the way, but that's definitely not how it works in science, and it's definitely not how it works in SEO. You can't have your own ranking factors. Okay, Google has the ranking factors. They've chosen them, and they are set, and they change them over time, but they are a set objective thing. that are not your subjective opinion, and you need to do scientific testing to get as close to them as possible, or not, or you can just guess, and then we'll see if you're still in the business in a couple of years. Okay, anyway, on that happy note, I'll save this. It's saved. I'll send it to you if you want that, Sam. So thanks very much, folks, for watching. I've gone way over time here. Let's see if there's any quick SEO YouTube questions. Nope, there's no other SEO questions. Fantastic. So thanks very much for paying attention. Thanks for watching. This has been SEO Hangouts with Josh Bachynski. If you have any SEO questions at all, any of them, I'll try to answer if I can. Email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. If you're having any problems at all, email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. If you want to try out Cora 5, go to bit.ly/get-Cora. That's bit.ly/get-Cora, GET-CORA, for a 25% off discount for month per month. It's fantastic. All those bugs you saw will be worked out very quickly. Or if you want to wait, you can wait as well. You could try the older version, which was also very good, still very good as well, 4.82. And if you want to ask me any questions about it, I'm happy to answer any Cora questions that I know. Again, I need to have Ted on the show to explain the whole thing. And anyway, so thanks very much for watching. As I like to say, good luck in the SERPs. For those about to rank, we salute you.